Good evening. I'm Jared Curson, and we'll be giving my informative speech on the iPod culture and a couple of the stigmas that have been placed with it. But first, I wanted to introduce my guests. I pulled a couple of strings. I got a couple of famous people to come help us out. My first guest is a character from Tim Burton's movie The Nightmare Before Christmas, and his name is Jack. Jack decided to come help us out, and I'm very grateful for him for doing so. My next guest is another famous character. His name is Scooby-Doo. I met up with him a little while ago, and he's always kind of helped me out in little instances such as this. And I'm also grateful for him to come out. Our next guest will be a couple of other more average run-of-the-mill type of persons. This handsome young space fellow is named Iggy. He was a childhood friend of my wife, and has been living in our closet ever since August when we got here into this apartment. And he told me that he wanted to see a little bit of light and step out of the closet for a little bit. So I agreed, and he said he would be part of my audience tonight, and I said okay. And then our last guest would be San Valentino. I don't know if you can see, but he's got a little bit of a tattoo that says "Be Mine" on his chest. He is a representation of the bear that I gave my wife for her very first Valentine from me. And I used this bear, I used him to propose to my wife with. And so he's a very special addition to our family. Okay, and so on to my informative speech about the iPod culture and the stigmas attached to it. So here in America, we enjoy a lifestyle in which we want entertainment at our fingertips, and we want it readily accessible to us, and we normally get it. Due largely in part to the innovations and developments of Apple or Macintosh. In 2001, Apple came out with a media player quite unlike all of the others called the iPod. This iPod was pretty much this iPod right here. This is actually a 6th generation iPod Classic. The original iPod Classic looks pretty much like this, but it only had 5 gigabytes of storage. But in 2001, for a handheld device that was an immense amount of storage, it could hold up to 1,000 songs. This iPod, like I said, this iPod Classic went through 6 generations. And about midway through those 6 generations, Apple came out with what they called the iPod Mini. It looked a little bit like the iPod Classic, but it was mini. It was smaller. Still had the screen and still had the scrolling wheel. But it also had a smaller hard drive, and could hold less media files on there. The iPod Mini was then converted into the iPod Nano that we have today. The iPod Nano is currently in its 5th generation, and the screen is even more clear than it was before. It has a larger storage capacity, and it can play movies. It also has a camera. So that's some of the newer things they've put into the iPod Nano. Then iPod shifted its gears and went even smaller from the Nano to the Shuffle. The Shuffle is about a little bit bigger than the size of my thumb. And what it does is you just upload your music. It's a very small hard drive. You upload in a finite amount of songs, and it just shuffles through. There's no screen, no interface. You just plug your earphones into it and listen. And the newest technology that iPods come out with is the iPod Touch and the iPhone. And just as the name suggests, the iPod Touch is about the size of my note card and is a fully touchscreen MP3 player. But it doesn't just play MP3s, it has all the capabilities of the iPod Nano, such as movies, and it also has newer technologies such as the new applications they have out. You can download anything from a GPS to books to games. So it's pretty much a computer in your hand. You can do anything that you want it to do. And then also the iPhone is the iPod Touch, but with a camera and cell phone capabilities. With this new iPod culture, there have also emerged different stigmas about how these iPodists are going about with it. The first stigma I'd like to address tonight is the me, myself, and I stigma. A lot of people think that because of the iPod, you just plug in your earphones and you are completely isolated from the world. No one else is of consequence to you and you really don't care about anybody else. You'd rather turn to your technological device and meet a new acquaintance. The second stigma I'd like to address is the "hey, you ignored me earlier" stigma, where today in today's society, when we don't want to listen to somebody, what do? You can stick your earphones in, listen to your iPod, and just use the excuse, "oh, I didn't hear you, I was listening to my iPod." Um, Also, the earbuds, they're very universal. Um, iPod uses these very distinct white earbuds, and these earbuds, when people see them in your ears, usually they serve as a deterrent from conversation initiation. But I am a person, I use a lot of public transportation here in Atlanta, and I find that even though people do not, if they don't have iPods or MP3 players or what have you, they still do not venture out and talk to their neighbor, to the person sitting next to them. So I find these two stigmas kind of erroneous. The third type of stigma is the stealing kind. With the new innovations with software applications for the iPod Touch and the iPhone, educators and retail stores are finding now that the iPod Touch and the iPhone users are stealing software programs from the computers in the stores, stealing answers for tests and cheating, and finding all sorts of ways to do dishonest things with the iPods and the iPhones and whatnot. So but I firmly believe that it's the people and not the instruments that are at fault here. So in short, iPod has come a very long ways from a very clunky brick-like instrument to a highly sophisticated touchscreen multifunctional device. And that is my speech on iPod culture and the stigmas thereof. Thank you very much.